If you're a team leader who struggles to engage and stay connected with your team members, I've got one really important hack that's going to totally solve this problem for you. And I experienced this in the early stages of building my team, going back around probably 15, maybe 14 years ago. And here's what I felt. I felt like my team members were distant. I felt like they didn't really respect me. I felt like they wouldn't really use the systems that I felt were important for our buyers and sellers. And they really felt truly like independent contractors just doing their thing, but simply being on my team. And I can tell you personally, I hated every minute of that. It felt terrible to me, and it wasn't at all my vision for what I wanted my team to be. It just felt like a collection of people that were around for the leads, and that was really it. And I want to tell you why. If it's happening to you, it's probably because your leadership is just not at the level that it should be at, okay? In order to have the team that you desire, you first of all need to be the team leader deserving of that business. And the thing that I want to ask you is, how impactful are you making the experience of being on your team? How much value are you adding to your team members? Not just from a lead standpoint, not just from a system standpoint, but I'm talking from a human and cultural standpoint. And so I'll tell you the change that we made that made such a difference in terms of our ability to pour in and to feel stronger connections in the community of team members that we were building and continue to build. And it's a real simple change. We just made it mandatory that if you were going to be on leads for the week, that you needed to be at a morning huddle. It was 15 minutes. It was at 9 o'clock in the morning. It had a defined agenda. And a lot of times it would wind up in 7 or 9 or 13 minutes. But you got to ask yourself this question. If you've got people on your team that are prepared to take your leads and take your services and your coaching and the support and infrastructure, whatever it is that you have, and they're not willing to attend a 15-minute huddle each day to improve their practice, to improve their mood, do you really want them on your team anyway? And if you're saying in your heart no, but you're feeling like, well, I have to, all the more reason why you should be implementing this change. So we rolled this out, and yeah, naturally, there was 5 team members at that point. And of course, there was some resentment because they didn't really value me, because I wasn't being the team leader that they needed me to be. And so I started looking at, okay, how am I going to make this 15 minutes impactful and valuable to these team members? And how am I going to do that consistently, okay? Well, you need only look at the things that motivate human beings. And community is a big one of those ones, and also the self-actualization. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization is the idea that we can communicate to someone that you're being impactful, that you're making a difference, and that your work matters. And so by incorporating those things into our morning huddles and then using it as an opportunity to add value in terms of sales and build a little bit of accountability in terms of reporting and keeping people plugged into the high dollar productive activities that they should be doing, we were able to dramatically increase the culture of our business. And as you can imagine, naturally increase the amount of business that we were doing. So here's the structure of our team meetings, and it's been this way for probably a decade. We have a 45-minute team meeting on Wednesdays. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, it's 15 minutes. And here's the agenda of that simple meeting. It's optional gratitude. So we just give people the opportunity to celebrate things that are going on in their lives, preference for it not to be business related, but for some folks it is, okay? We want to celebrate you getting your new puppy. We want to celebrate the fact that you've got fresh air. We want to celebrate you moving into your new house or buying a new car or anything that's impactful in your life. Now, caveat for that one is that as a team leader, now you're connecting to the hearts of those people, because I can almost guarantee that you're not having the opportunity to have those kind of conversations with your team members on any sort of regular basis. But now you've got this opportunity in the mornings. And so what I do is I listen to those calls. Now we've got over 50 agents, and then I'll just spend 20 minutes sending some text messages, sending some videos, recording some content, celebrating people on social media for those things going on in their life as part of that self-actualization. Like, I want them to feel good. I want them to feel part of a community. I want them to feel appreciated, seen, heard, and loved. And when you have that with your team members, you become the sort of team leader that deserves the type of business that you're building. But it's still not enough, okay? So then we move over after we've worked our way through that, and you kind of feel when it sort of naturally starts to wind up. You'll move towards the things, those lag measures, okay, the final outcomes that we know are going to result in paychecks, which every agent on your team wants. And so we celebrate under contracts. Now, that's the point that anybody's gotten somebody to sign an agency agreement, either a listing or a buyer's agency agreement, because that's the result of all of the phone calls and the texting and the emails and the meetings, building trust with either a buyer or a seller. And that's a major celebration point for a lot of agents. So we want to celebrate them publicly. So we count those and we say congratulations. And then we do that on a much deeper level in our Wednesday meeting, but just under contracts on those other 4. And then after that, we go to kudos. Who do you want to celebrate? Is there somebody that was an excellent service provider in your market, an excellent mortgage broker that did a great job, a house cleaner that was phenomenal, somebody in the team that did something for you that made a big difference to you? Now you're strengthening the bonds of your organization, but you're also seeing who's making a difference, giving you the opportunity to identify future team leaders as you grow your organization. And then finally, wind it up with 30 to 90 seconds of information, coaching, or updates. Now, this can be a challenging thing as a new team leader especially, but the things that I want you to think about are like, what's going on in the news that agents are generally scared about? What's happening with interest rates? What's your anticipated outcome of the current market that you're in? What are some closing strategies that work in a market like this? What are some things that they can do to win in competition? What are some things that they can do to position a listing more effectively? What are some ways that they can close just one more transaction if they change to this one thing? And don't spend a lot of time on it. You got to understand that you're a team leader. People on your team, for the most part, are not interested in being a team leader. For the most part, they're interested in being supported, and they're interested in receiving value from someone like you. So show up as a person of value. That podcast that you listen to, share a snippet of that's going to help them. Got a new social media tip that you've just heard? Share that, but keep it simple. One of the biggest mistakes that I made early on in my career was that my ability to process a lot of information and manage a lot of stress had me feeling like I needed to deliver as much of that as possible in a shorter period of time. And so I would just rapid fire, have them drinking from a fire hose during these times. And that just creates more overwhelm and finishes your meeting off in a bad way. Give them one thing to think about, just one. You're not going to conquer Rome in a day, so just give them one tidbit that they can work on, that they can incorporate into their life or their business, and then do that consistently over time. And you'll have them growing as human beings, growing as individuals, growing as realtors, and collectively building a stronger organization, because now you're being the type of team leader that deserves this great business. And with that, you'll find people stick around longer, they recruit more people to the team, they do more, better work, and you'll start to close a few more transactions. And then, because your culture is so much stronger, of course, then it becomes easier to recruit, attract, and retain new agents, which is absolutely clutch to your success, the success of your model, the success of each of those team members, and the impact that you can make in your community. So I want you to go ahead and give that a try. Now, like and follow this. If you want more content like this, or subscribe if you're seeing it on YouTube, I give it all away for free. But if you would like some customized one-on-one coaching, go ahead, reach out, and we can have that conversation as well. Okay, take good care.